I know you. You are people who care about religion and patriotism, faith and citizenship. You serve and contribute to this church. You seek to make this nation live up to the promises of its documents and democracy. In this moment, the electoral process needs your involvement. If you haven't voted already in this year's elections, vote. At stake in this year's elections is the fate of virtually every issue of social, moral, political significance in religious communities. Civil rights, foreign policy, fair housing, taxation, issues at the heart of LGBTQ plus community, religious freedom, economic justice, education, poverty, healthcare, and the future of our nation's children. Now, to be sure, I know that all people of faith and goodwill do not agree on the specifics of how these issues should be addressed by the government. However, I also know that all people of faith and goodwill care about these issues and want to see them addressed responsibly and helpfully. The urgency of that interest alone underscores the importance of voting, a civil act of conscientiousness and citizenship. Voting is an act that comes from the heart of our interest in issues of war and peace, balancing national security and fundamental civil rights, and developing a nation that appreciates religious pluralism and refuses to allow diversity to be labeled a curse instead of a blessing. Voting is important. In our government, the ballot is a great equalizer. During an election, our votes, your vote, my vote, are as powerful quantitatively and qualitatively as any other person's vote. We have no more powerful tool for saying no to politicians with whom we disagree than voting against them. We have no more effective way of affording service to a politician whom we value than voting for her or his election to public office. Voting is important. It was important enough to make a white male-dominated government refuse to give women the right to vote until we were well over 150 years into this national experience. Voting was important enough to cause Medgar Evers to give his life on a road in Mississippi that African Americans might file into polling places on election days and allow their voices to be heard through the ballots that they checked. Politicians don't place the full force of government behind efforts to deny this basic right that ought to belong to everybody unless the people in that government fear that a broader exercise of that right could mess up their political playpens and rob them of positions of power. Now, let me be very clear. Though voting is the sine qua non of civic participation, voting is not a sacrament, voting is not a religious ritual, but it is an indication of the integrity of religion and an affirmation of the kind of people whom we want to lead our nation. Friends, I know you. Let's be sure that every person in this congregation votes this year. Keep in your mind that voting is a matter of good government and a matter of good religion. As a Christian myself, I pay close attention to the Christian scripture that says, "Let your politics be worthy of the gospel of Christ." If you have not yet voted in the 2020 elections, please vote.